So let's go to the stream to do and see what we want to work on here. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think the build list we actually don't need to do, right? Build tests works by just we include generated /star, right? We build that and that works. So we actually can get that off the list, I think. I think that's okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So we're going to say this we don't actually need to do. Oops, sorry, that one we do. This we don't actually need to do. Now the run list we actually do want to do because we can't just star that. We can't tell it to run 4coder to run all of those with a star. I don't think we want to tell 4coder to do that either because we change the directories partway through and we don't want it to like, we want to know that each test runs from the same fresh state. So, we also did this item. So we want to basically generate this run list so that I can hit run, it'll run all of the tests that I've just generated. Not just the not just the ones I've managed to make a list for. Now I'm thinking this through in my head of how I exactly want to generate this list, and I'll tell you some of the things I'm thinking about. So I don't necessarily want to run all tests all the time every time I run this system. So what might happen is as I'm going, I'll go through like, alright, I'm commenting out certain tests, so I'll have like generate I don't know, like navigation tests or whatever. Or to be, yeah, generate like we'll call them navigation tests, right? And then maybe I'll have like generate what's another kind of thing I have bugs for frequently that I gotta fix? Something that causes crashes, like generate Unicode file tests. What else? What else? What else? Maybe a test for someday we'll be able to have tests for clipboard behavior kinds of stuff, maybe that kind of thing. Right, so I have these various calls, and I might come here and be like, alright, right now I'm really focusing on the Unicode clipboard and like the intersection between these two problems. I'm going to run both those tests and maybe start a new set of tests that does an intersection, like a Unicode clipboard test, right? That specifically exercises the Unicode capacity of the clipboard. And point is, as I'm doing this, I want it to only run the tests that I'm currently generating, right? So when I make my run test list, that will be one of the things, is I only want it to output this, the test for this and this. But I don't want this to put out one file and then this to overwrite the file. I want this to each put out like a list of the things it wants me to run. So like, I want you to run these tests, and this will say I want you to run these tests, and then maybe down here at the bottom we have like generate the run test list or script, right? That actually takes the things that these are requesting get generated and add them. I also might have, like, while I'm choosing which tests to include, things that I'm not generating, but I just want to include them in the list. And since this is going to write my run regression tests, things like this one, which is commented out right now, but like handwritten stuff, for instance, or stuff that comes from other sources, I also want that to maybe be able to end up in the list. So I might want to also be able to say something like include bootstrap test, right? However that works, so that I can tell it to still run that test. And yeah, so in order to support that, what I think I basically want is, let me get rid of these fictional things now. Just set this up this way. Is we're going to have like some kind of test list or something like this. And then down here we're going to take the test list, we're going to generate run script, and I'm going to pass it the test list. And then these things have the job of pushing the things they want to do onto the test list. Yeah. My problem with that is if they're pushing it onto the partition and that's a scratch, it won't stick. But we can put these at the very end, I think. Or maybe I want a separate arena for that anyway, so that it's just independently growing. That'd probably be good. That'd probably be good. Yeah. Then we can add those to the list, and it'll get pooped out down here. Uh-oh. I accidentally went full screen. I'm not sure how long I've been full screen. Hope I haven't been full screen the whole time. Uh-oh. I just made a move on Kosumi. Crap. Whoops. Alright, I'm gonna close this game because I must have just clicked somewhere and I don't even know where, but does it this move? I feel like this was the move I didn't have before, maybe? I don't know. I'm out. I had to log off because 4coder was crashing and it went full screen for a second there accidentally. Not sure what I did. I definitely hit something bad. What's going on here? Okay. Yep. Take forever. Go ahead, do it again. Take forever. There you go. Yeah, so we were looking at test generator. No, test generator. And yeah, so I saved all that. That's good. Alright, we're back in the game. I think I accidentally went full screen and then it crashed for some reason. Alright, let's see. What to do with this? Yeah, so we're gonna want to come up here and set up this test list thing, which is a bit of a sort of more overarching thing. Test list, and I guess one thing I don't know is, does 4coder ship with it does not. My macros for linked lists aren't included, so we'll just do it manually. This is gonna have a test node first and a test node last and a count. Test node. It's gonna have a next and a previous. No, it's just gonna have next. We'll do a singly linked list here, and along with that, what else is in a test? For now, it will just be the test name, I guess. And then we also want to, along with all that, we want to include a partition along with a test list, right? And there we go. So it's complaining, but that's fine. We're going to set up the test list. Test list. Test list. Test list dot part equals test list part. Partition test list part equals make a partition. Let's say it's, why don't I just do it that way all the time? Test list size. Test list size, we'll grab another 8 megs for that. No big deal. Hey there, mystery. Welcome to the stream. And then we're going to do yep. Does not take yep. You're upset about that. Let's go take token tests and tell it that it now takes a test list. And let's go back up here to where we do the types, and we're going to real quick just add in a push test, and we just take the test list and the name. We'll probably take the name like this, and that will basically go test node equals push an array onto this partition of one test node. Set the node's test name to equal whatever you get when you push an array onto this partition of chars equal to the size of that string. Tell it that cap. Then we're going to copy into here the name. Before we do that though, we should really push an alignment onto the partition just so we don't, we can keep things nicely aligned after those string pushes that have 1 byte granularity. And then, let's see, so we're going to copy that onto there. And then finally we're going to say, okay, if first, we can do it like this way, first equals 0, question mark, else that. If first is null, then first equals last, and I mean list first. List equals first equals last equals the new node, right? Otherwise, and this we're going to parenthesize so that we can combine it with list count plus equals 1. And so list first equals list last node. Otherwise, list last next equals node, list last equals node. Alright. first, then first equals last equals node, otherwise list last next equals node, and then last equals node, and then after all that, plus equals 1 onto the C putter. Okay. So we push onto the array the node, we set the node's name, and then we push the node into the list. And there we go. So that's how we push a test. Now the only thing that isn't set up is that, but first I'm going to come up here where we're generating the token tests, and we're going to say, okay, sample name, that's one thing, but what about test name? Yeah. So after we're done outputting the file, what I want to do is I want to remove the extension from the test name, and then I'm going to append the 4ID extension instead, and then we're going to push a test onto the test list whose name is the test name. Okay. Alright, so that's all good. Now we just gotta write the thing that generates the list. And so that kind of belongs right here. Scratch test list temp memory temp equals begin temp memory on the scratch and the temp memory. Alright, now what we want to do is iterate the list. So we're going to go test node equals list first, node does not equal 0, node equals node next. Then what do we do? Well, we're going to fprintf to our output file the following text. How do I run a regression test in this script? I do that. I say go to the build directory, forEd, -t, and then go to the data path, and then finally %.s. I need it to do that. Now all of those percents need to be doubled so that the format string on C does not take the percents off that we need in the batch script. It's a bit annoying to do, but that's what we gotta do. And furthermore, the backslashes on the C oh my goodness, that's so crazy. So the C string system is gonna turn the backslashes into escape sequences if I don't double them. And then the format system will turn a %sign into a format flag if I don't double it. Okay. At least we're not writing this to a C file that has to do this crap. So that would be super hella confusing. Alright. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're going to take the node's name, right? That's what we called it, the name, test name. We're going to just rename that to name. take the node's name, put it on there, and then new line. And that new line will go out to the batch script. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I can use a raw string to avoid the backslashes, but that wouldn't actually prevent me from needing to do the percent signs anyway. And you also have to be careful. I mean, there's just so many layers to these things when they start getting crazy that it's just kind of amusing, I guess. And like, I don't know. Normally I would do a raw string if it was easy to do, but I'm not compiling C++ 11. But in this case I wouldn't do it because that's like adding an extra thing to think about, not actually removing one in my mind, because now I have to remember which rules do and don't apply rather than just assuming all apply. Maybe that sounds goofy, but anyway. That's the way my brain works. So the node names are coming out. Now I just need to get the rest of the script. So before that, we have to do an @echo off, and then all this stuff. And then at the end, we'll do a popd. Okay. Here we go. No advantage to spacing now. Alright, we gotta go back through and double check that we got all these guys. So that's a correct backslash. This needs to be doubled, this needs to be doubled, this needs to be doubled, that's gotta be doubled, that's gotta be doubled. Okay. Same thing with all of those percent signs. Let's get those. Alright. So, boop, boop, boop. So what the script does is we get the run path and the data path by first going over to the, we go there, which is sort of our root position. We get the run path and data path there. Then we go over there to the build, and we get the build path. And then we push on to our run path to run. We say run the thing in the build path called forward and pass it a file from the data path that we get out of the node. And then we do all of those, and then finally we need to, whoops, just stop that. We just need to output the popd at the end, which ends this pushd here. So there's all of our script. Now we just got to do the thing that does a try open output. That's going to take our scratch, and the name of this is going to be run regression tests .bat. And we want to set the hot directory. In this case, if you were wondering why I saved the code root earlier, it's for this. And then if out does not equal 0, fclose out. So now I say I'm going to output something to the code root, and then I say open the file called run regression tests.bat, and then we write out the script like so, and then we close that file and we're done. And if we can't open the file, try open output will tell us automatically. Right, so let's go back to generate run script. Yeah. Jim asks, have I tried using forward slashes for my path? No, you can't do that. It might be true in later versions of Windows, but I don't even think that's actually the case. It's true that it doesn't care when it knows you're specifying a file, but then you have to quote all of your files to make sure it knows, because otherwise it thinks you're passing it a flag. I mean, I'll show you real quick. So if I do something like this, okay, let's take a look. We have in this folder, I can't even see. There's a folder called site. Okay. Now, suppose I want to change to code/site. This will work. Wait, whoa, that doesn't even work. Man, I thought that was the example, the only thing I knew that does work, but I guess that doesn't even work. Okay, wait, is it code/site? Yes, okay, so that's what I was expecting to do. So if you use CD, it does let you use any slash you want. But let's see that again. If I do dir code/site, it says, I'm not sure what you mean by site. And this is what most things will do. Push d code/site, right? It thinks that this is supposed to be a flag because that's the way it's set up to work. So, except in very rare cases where they've like gone ahead and put in the smarts to know what that means, it actually doesn't work. And the only way you could make it work is you can do that, but now you're putting quotes in everywhere, which is not really any better. Honestly, that leads to all kinds of annoyances as well. And I'm pretty sure that that's not different on Windows 10. But maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong there. Anyway, so I regenerate my tests, I build my tests, and now I run my tests. This is bad. Whatever this is not good. This is bad sauce. Uh-oh. Yikes. Uh-oh. Okay, let's take a look at that. What went wrong? Whoa! Oh, I know what went wrong. I know what went wrong. Actually, I'm not even sure why that compiled. What? Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's still not better. Too many dots. Alright, I see. When I do remove extension, that doesn't take the period off, I guess. Let's just look at this directly. So, build it. It's gonna. Okay, let's try it. Here it goes. Okay. That's not bad. So, this kind of neat. And another thing I might want to be able to do, now that I think about it, is I might want to be able to set it up to run tests but not rebuild them. So I'm gonna have a flag here for like generate flags. gen flag. The first one's going to be no rebuild samples, and then we're going to have no rebuild scripts, and then we're going to have no output tests, right? Like that. And then I'll go over here and say, okay, for the rest of these, on a separate enum, gen flag only output tests equals gen flag no rebuild scripts no rebuild samples, and a couple other ones. Gen flag do all will be 0. Gen flag I don't really like this, like it's going to end up to doing a double negative thing, so I'm going to reverse this. This is going to be like do all. It's just going to say rebuild samples, rebuild scripts, gen flag output tests. And if you're wondering why I'm separating these two enums, it's because I have a thing that lets me autofill enums with either sequential or flags, and so the ones that are not part of that, if I put this, whoops, if I put this here and I do fill flags, it'll screw up the do all. So the do all lives in a separate enum so that it doesn't change when I autofill. And since I don't actually name my enums, I just use them as a space for quickly generating lots of integer constants, basically. That's fine. It's fine this way. Actually, that's got me thinking about something interesting. Anyway, we rebuild the scripts. And here, we only do this part if we output tests. Okay. And now we just gotta pass the flags around a little bit. Oops. Yes. So if I say gen flag do all, it does that. Now suppose I go and delete the generated scripts, and I only tell it to run output tests, right? Now, I shouldn't be seeing that, but I should still get this. Okay. Cool. So, that's neat. I'm going to keep both of these around for now, like this. Alright. So, that's kind of starting to be something. Okay, so now I'm telling you how to run the tests. Alright, so now we want to take a minute to regroup and figure out what's worth doing next. We now are pretty confident that we've tested a lot of the cases where the tokens thing can fail. In the future, whenever a new bug comes up that I think I can get a regression test for like this, I will try to create a test for it using this system, but I'm not sure I want to start doing that right now. I think what might be best, I mean, the other thing we're not doing yet is the canonical files thing, where I make the output that's supposed to be correct and store it somewhere else and then diff them after the tests are run. We could build that system out, but I actually don't have anything I want to do with that yet. Yeah, so it's a little hard to say. On the other hand, maybe I shouldn't skimp out and just go full bore on testing while I'm still in it, and just get this testing stuff really, really good, and start cranking on it, like finding regression tests that I like or something. On the other hand, I could go and start actually making progress on known bugs. I could also take a look at my known bug list and see if there's anything in there that I can make tests for. So I might pause the stream for now. Let me see how long this one has been. It's kind of short. I might cut this one off and go and read through some emails. I don't want to do that on the stream. It's like people's personal bug reports and stuff, screenshots of their code and whatnot. So I might go read through some of that, find a list of things that I know I can test with this system, and then create the tests to expose them, and then finally fix those bugs. If I can't find anything in my list that I actually feel like I can test with this system, then I'll come up with a plan on the fly to either improve the test system so that I can test for those things, or just I don't know, come up with a new life plan where I don't make bad decisions about building test systems and not actually use them very heavily. We'll see. We will see what I do when I come back with more more data, but I kind of want to get to this right now is what I'm feeling. Because I don't want to put more work into this test system if I don't have some direction from the real world. So I feel like doing these other things, setting up the canonical files, auto diff at the end of test, diff the results against canonical results. I don't want to do these yet, and I don't want to do this or this yet if I don't actually know the like payoff it's going to have. Right? I want to go and get some real world input from the actual bugs we've got and see if it'll be worth it to put more time into this or not, and exactly what direction I need to take it. So that's the plan. I'm going to sign off. I'll be back in maybe 20 to 30 minutes with a plan for what we're going to do. I will see you guys then. Bye-bye.